China has urged U.S. officials to stop sending the wrong signals to so-called violent separatists in Hong Kong. The Hong Kong office of China's foreign ministry has also asked Washington to clarify reports that U.S. officials are in contact with protest leaders.
Well, earlier today, masked protesters from the city's anti-government movement held a news conference. They reiterated that police tactics and use of excessive force on demonstrators will eventually backfire.
Meanwhile, the U.S. and Australia have upgraded travel advisories to Hong Kong in view of the further planned protests this weekend. Protesters are planning demonstrations across several districts, along with a three-day rally at the airport.
However, police said that they have not received applications to hold such demonstrations. Our correspondent in Hong Kong, Afifa Arifin, tells us more.
The main thing that they were addressing is the escalation of violence during protests, especially during the protests that took place last weekend and on Monday night, where we saw, city-wide protests taking place as well. They talk about the many fights and brawls that are breaking out among the civilians, even amongst the protesters themselves. At the press conference, there was a large screen. The police brought a large screen, and it displayed pictures of some of these fights, as well as videos of people that were being beaten up. We know that one of the most notorious cases was of the one at North Point on Monday night, where we saw protesters and men in white shirts wielding long wooden poles fighting one another. The police also raised the example of how there are many protesters who turn violent and try to block one another from leaving the premises, or they get very angry when their pictures are taken, and they intimidate some of the protesters as well as journalists who try to do so. So the police really reminded the public, that such acts will not be tolerated, and those who commit such violence and intimidation can be charged under common assault or criminal damages as well. So as a result of this, what the police told us is that they have received numerous applications for protests that will be taking place during the weekend. We know that this is the period where larger groups will be mobilized to the streets, but the police said that they will review each application and see whether they can give consent on a case-by-case basis, looking at criteria like the expected number of crowd that will turn up, the proposed rally routes, and also whether the organizers will be able to handle the size of the crowd that is set to turn up.